Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin Show. Today is November the 15th. 2020, strong hand, long-term thinking. You can see my shadow there. Look at that. Look at that pointy nose. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. It's the Beyond Bitcoin show, so I should be saying stuff like conviction and personal responsibility is the new counterculture. And I'm trying to find all my notes here. I was at the end of my notes. Oh, yeah, it's been a busy day. I got to see my friend from college here in Salt Lake City. Unconfiscatable. Golden age. He's relentless. Strive for greatness. Principles over practicality. I'm offended by selling. Okay, dudes. If you have questions, I have answers. Type in Proud Zionist Jew. It's the Beyond Bitcoin show. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be back on the regular channel. YouTube is even giving me more problems. I cannot download yesterday's video. Saturday is going to be called from now on the Bitcoin Noise Show, okay? And so yesterday I officially changed the title. It's linked to below, the Bitcoin Noise Show. Please watch it. It was really a fun show. I said hello, my elite friends. I said ask me some questions. I said, no, I didn't say 5-digit realm. And remember, play this at 2x, people, if you're watching this taped. And what is here? Okay, yeah, yesterday's show was great. So Biden's first move as president-elect, mask mandate for all. What? Because then it said, he corrected it. They said, the head of the Democratic U.S. presidential election, President-elect Joe Biden's coronavirus advisory board said on Friday there was no plan to shut the country down and that the new administration's approach will be targeted at specific areas. Okay, so those are two different things. Mask mandate for, well, no, he could do a mask mandate for all. He could say both things, shutting down the country, mask mandate for all, he can't do, okay? It's a state decision. So here you go. A lot of people are angry about how the elections turned out. You shouldn't be that angry if you're a Republican, because the Republicans did great in Congress and in Senate. But if you're frustrated, if you're independent, a Republican, or anything, Green Party person, this is what you fight over then. If he says there's going to be a mask mandate, or if he says there's going to be a shutdown, and all you states, I know I can't make you do it, but you states better do it, then you get into the streets, peaceful protest in your state. This is something to shout about, okay? Peacefully about. So we shall see if he attempts this. I don't think he, well, anything goes, right? And you never can predict these sociopaths, but I don't think he'll declare a shutdown of the United States, a lockdown in the United States. But there are many people demanding it. Many people. We'll talk about what's going on in Michigan. Mask mandate. He might try that one. That's much more likely, I guess. Now, the great Safedine says Corona hysterics seem to be forgetting they're supposed to be in a deadly plague because their TV is too distracted with politics to keep them hyperventilating. If the U.S. election drags on for another 2 weeks, it might just be the cure for corona hysteria. Well, wishful thinking there. Indeed, you're right. There were a lot of hysterical people over the election at first, but it's died down, and the media, they stretched it out as far as they possibly could, and look what they're doing. They're bringing up the virus again, and people are remembering the virus again. I mean, they wouldn't remember it if it wasn't for the media, because you don't see, I mean, you walk outside, everything looks normal. I mean, you don't see people dropping like flies or anything like that. Yeah, I personally prefer the people hyperventilating over the politics than over the virus. I wish the virus stuff would just, they would stop focusing on that. But it looks like it's wishful thinking there. But in some states, this is the glory of being in the United States of America. There are some state governors, despite all the nonsense on TV, they will have strong hands and not give in to some weird shutdown, which is just deadly. Deadly. A shutdown is deadly for people. People can't see beyond the numbers provided to them on TV, like how many cases there are. They don't understand, when you shut down someone's business, they go bankrupt, they get sick, they die, they commit suicide, God forbid. All right. Now, let's talk about results of these lockdowns and these crazy rules in certain states. Alzheimer's. The CDC data on dementia and Alzheimer's is truly disturbing. This is from Carl Denninger. There is a very notable increase directly related to isolation protocols. What is being done to these people is monstrous, and those in government doing it should all serve the rest of their lives in prison for it. Well, the second thing, let there be a trial and everything. But yeah, people have tossed their old people into nursing homes. They don't care about them. And some people do, but a lot of people don't. And they're forgotten about. So yeah, someone's got dementia in the nursing home, and they start to go down the tubes real fast. No one's really talking about it. No one's making a big deal out of it, but it's happening. It is happening. Isolation. I mean, talk to anyone who's been in prison before. They tell you about being in the hole, that type of isolation does to someone. Now, this is not as extreme as that, but if you're already having major brain issues, and you can't see anyone anymore, you're just seeing the same nurse over and over, and you can't see your family that you sort of remember or you do remember, yeah, you'll deteriorate really quick. But yeah, people know that, we need these special rules all over the place. Only one person visiting a hospital per day. And there's consequences. There are consequences that you cannot see. Okay, that you have to dig a little deep to do a little research, but it affects people personally in a horrible type of way. Now, we got a question for Taval. Just search YouTube to MP3 on Google and copy the link. It will download into audio format. Search YouTube to, well, dude, there are a lot of links. There are a lot of sites that provide that service, and some of them are really bad sites, dude, and put all sorts of malware on your computer. I had one that I trusted, and it stopped working also, like today. I wouldn't. The YouTube issue with having a problem downloading the video started like 2 days ago. Okay, then this site, it's not working right now. So I hope and I'll name you the site which I do trust and which is not working right now. It is called free YouTube downloader u2convert.com. The letter U, the number 2, convert.com is not working. It's not working. And if it was, then the people in podcast land would be listening to yesterday's awesome show. Again, yesterday's show was awesome. You're a witness of that, Taval, and it's linked to below. You can watch it. And Arthur Pug is in the house. Good to see him here. Pound that like button, everybody. Biden's administration will be bad news for us Brexiters getting a trade deal. Well, he definitely doesn't support Brexit. He doesn't support Brexit. So it's in terms of having a vocal voice against, and unfortunately, there are a lot of people in England who really think it's very important what the President of the United States says in terms of their country, which is really disgraceful. I mean, come on, don't be CUCKs to the United States. Indeed, we've got the best country. There's no doubt about that. But do what's best for your country, not what Trump says or what Biden says. But yeah, Biden will. Yeah, he's against the Brexit. Obviously, he will. The media that in England that is also against the Brexit and everything that deals with the Brexit will definitely hype up whatever Biden says to guilt the people of Britain into feeling bad about what they did and to further delay things and reverse things. So yeah, Biden's administration can't change. They don't have any power over England, but unfortunately, marketing-wise, they do, and it's an interesting point you bring up there. And Towers Comics says you could probably use OBS or another software to just record the stream and then dude, only so much time during the day, dude. And it was very easy the previous way. YouTube does not, it is unbelievable. Through the years, the product has gotten worse and worse. They can't just straight up say, now I'm sure for like ABC News, and this is not, I am sure of this, the tremendous the large content creators, the corporate content creators on YouTube, they have good customer service, okay? And I mentioned this on another show. They have good customer service. They will not encounter problems like I'm encountering. But regular people that are not corporate entities, it's just gotten worse and worse. The customer services doesn't exist, but the product itself has gotten worse and worse. It has not become, so they don't want, they have no use for people like us anymore. Now, they can't say that. They can't say that, or there would be a rebellion. But if they just treat us like dirt, and weird things happen like this, we'll slowly go away, and they won't have to deal with it. And they've got plenty. They do very well off of the tremendous entities that put their stuff out there. I mean, it'll be like regular TV. I think their goal is to be like regular TV with a few extra content creators here and there. But they can't say that because there will be enough people to be like, wait a second, that's not that. They have to gradually do it. And you boil the frog gradually, it doesn't notice it's being boiled. And of course, all these algorithm slaves are not noticing what's going on. YouTube is doing a beautiful job with their algorithm. Okay, I mean, in terms of them making profits, in terms of their end goal, they're doing a great job. It's not good for it's really bad for the people out there who depend on content, making content as their livelihood. Okay. There's a lot of people that they may have 100,000 people channels, or even 200, 250,000. And when the algorithm changes, when they're not being promoted anymore, they might go from making $60,000 a year from YouTube stuff. It's unfortunate for the content creators that lose their livelihood because of YouTube's policy, and they have made their lives dependent on the algorithm, which is really unfortunate. And people have become really, I mean, I've heard about young people wanting to end their lives and stuff over the algorithm. All right, there's that dude. I have really never heard of this guy before, Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary is he's the guy behind Shark Tank, I guess. I never watched that show before. He's got a very interesting video I stumbled upon here, and I will link to it below. Kevin O'Leary's got a great line. A salary is the drug they give you to forget your dreams. That is awesome, man. A salary is the drug they give you to forget your dreams. Your dreams are freedom. Dreams are working for yourself, man. So that salary, yeah, it's a drug that makes you forget that you could be independent. You could work for yourself. He says there are people who own the store, and then there are people who scrape the dung off the floor of the store, okay? So you can be the boss of yourself, your business, or you're either the boss or you're not the boss. That's what it boils down to. And I agree with that. Because if you're not the boss, your boss can tell you to do just about anything, okay? When you're the boss, I mean, you make the rules for you, but you got to work real hard to be the boss. So control your own destiny, work for yourself, stuff that he taught. And, it's not all about a tremendous salary. It's about the freedom. It's about, you can do your job whenever you want to. We're talking about YouTubers beforehand. The ones who aren't addicted to the algorithm, they can do their job whenever they want to. When you're a Bitcoin overlay, you can do your job whenever you want to. You have freedom. Freedom is something that I value a lot. I've talked about it often on this show, and he definitely puts it in perspective. But I love that line. A salary is the drug they give you to forget your dreams. Next. And on yesterday's show, one of the things I was talking about was turmeric, which is a very healthy spice, healthy herb, and turmeric over Tootsie Rolls. And that the people who are now, a lot of the people who are getting sick out there, it's lifestyle choices. It's lifestyle choices, all right? So many people, they've eaten themselves into diabetes and other dangerous situations. They've chosen Tootsie Rolls over turmeric. All the information's out there. You could be an algorithm slave and just, eat up whatever the media tells you to. Literally eat up whatever the media tells you to. But yeah, you brought this on yourself. And us productive people, we don't have to sacrifice for you. And us productive people should say the cold, hard truth. Now, I hear this Kevin O'Leary likes to say the cold, hard truth. Well, I'm saying the cold, hard truth here. We don't have to feel guilty for you. You brought this on yourself. If you're scared of catching some virus that's out there because you're morbidly obese, I mean, you chose the Tootsie Rolls. Okay, it was a lifestyle choice, and you've had 9 months to change too. By the way, we've known for a while this is first of all, diabetes is like totally lifestyle, but this disease that's going on around right now, yeah, it's largely lifestyle related. Now, in the state of Michigan, the governor, what's her name? Gretchen? Big Gretch, they're calling her. This is a real tweet that's out there. Shut Michigan down, please, Big Gretch. The surge is too much. Certain people refuse to wear masks. So when I was about to start the show, she was about to have a press conference where I assumed she was going to announce another lockdown. They're so statist. They so can't control their own lives. They so need a dictator to tell them what to do that we've got people begging, shut down Michigan, please, Big Gretch. The surge is too much. Why is the surge too much? You're healthy. I mean, can't you be a grown-up and just, deal with life? If you're a healthy young person, why be scared? Well, because the media tells you to be scared. Certain people refuse to, so they're the scapegoating. It's the people who refuse to wear masks that's making me scared, and that are boosting those case numbers, which actually mean nothing at all. But the sick part is how fast people turn to dictators, how they demand a dictator. They demand authoritarian measures. And this is, you check out the entire thread. I'll link to it eventually. Okay, we've got questions here. That's interesting. I have a client who wants me to come work for her full time, but I'll probably have to say no. It depends on how you value your freedom and what type of freedom you will have under such a client. Have you had Swiss chard? Yes. One of the most healthiest vegetables in the world. Yes, I have. It's funny though. When we get into certain vegetables, they basically taste the same to me. I mean, kale, spinach, you get the green taste, but they are great for you. And name them all. I've tried many of the great greens that are out there, the great vegetables. Kevin O'Leary is Canadian. Yes, I realize that. And he also did Dragon's Den. So yeah, he is. He's definitely Canadian, but he is rich as anything, and he's pretty hardcore. He's got conviction, and he loves capitalism. He loves it. He loves it. He loves it. And he spreads the word of, compete, don't complain type of thing. And he's willing to tell people when they got a bad idea also. So I really did not know about him until yesterday, but I was impressed. I really was impressed. Okay, so pound that like button like the shirt says. All right. God almighty, it's so annoying. It's just annoying that the computer shut down, but we're dealing with it here. We're dealing with it. And since I hung out with my friend today from college, I'm behind schedule in terms of eating and defecating. I haven't even done that yet. Too much information. Pound that like button. So let's talk about the media trying to scare people and pedestaling certain heroes. Because if the heroes come to the United States, that must mean we're really in desperate shape here. So I will say that the people at Doctors Without Borders, they do good things. I mean, they go to disaster areas and help people out. And so apparently they came to the United States. They're helping people, I think, on the reservations. And they've been on the Native American reservations. And they've been in the country silently for a while, and they can go wherever they want to. It's a big organization. I mean, you would rather go to the United States of America to help than go to some really treacherous Asian or African country where things are really filthy and dangerous. Of course. So they're free to go wherever they want to. If they want to help people in the United States, they want to help people on the reservations. That's great. That's cool. And they've been around for a while. They weren't making a big deal out of it. Were they necessary per se? I mean, they felt that they were necessary. But we have CNN Sanjay Gupta, he puts out there, he spreads the word that they're here now. They're here. He's like, this is how bad things have gotten in the United States, that an organization that just goes to disaster areas has come to the United States. And what does that mean? What does that mean that they've come here? Okay? And he's just, I mean, he is using this virus as a political tool. I mean, because he wants you to blame it on the president. He wants you to blame it on a certain. He is trying to, I mean, he likes he likes authoritarianism. I don't know, but he is blowing this way out of proportion. Like that because Doctors Without Borders are here, that we're a third world country. And in the freaking comment section underneath this video clip, all these people they're saying yes. Look how horrible things have gotten here. It's a third world country now. If we need this situation, okay? If they're here, we're in need. Oh, it's so bad. The president's done such a bad job. These guys are so clueless, okay? This is not the biggest. They're saying it's the biggest disaster area on earth. Let me tell you something, okay? I'm going to give you links below. And there's a site, it's UNICEF, okay? And it shows you the under 5 mortality rate in some of these countries all over the world. If you want to know what disaster is, okay? 1 out of 13 children in sub-Saharan Africa died before reaching their 5th birthday. It's unbelievable here. The under 1.26 million children under 5 die in India every year amidst the government. The under 5 mortality rate in Chad, there's an 11% chance of you not making it to 5 years old in Chad. All right. These are third world countries. These are third world situations. These are disasters. There's living non-stop disasters in India, Chad, wherever in Africa. We don't. Do we even worry about under 5 mortality rate in the United States of America? No, we do not. Okay. 250,000 people, most of whom were in horrible shape, have died. We're the 3rd most populated country on earth. All right. So it's a disease it affects people who have lived an abundant lifestyle, who've stuffed their faces. Okay. Even unfortunately on the reservations in America, which have been, I think, hit the hardest, it's a very unhealthy lifestyle there. Drinking, obesity, high levels over there. But even they don't have infant mortality, under 5 mortality. Okay. Even the reservations are better than a country like South Africa, the shanty towns or whatever you want to call them on the side of the road. All right. So these people are that Sanjay Gupta, and he knows this, that the United States is not a disaster area, that people are willing to give their left nut to still get into the United States. Okay. It is a very safe, very clean. You can drink the water. Okay. These places, other places, most places on earth, you cannot even drink the water out of the faucet, okay? It's disgusting, all right? And they're developing, and I wish them well, okay? But to put this out there, that because Doctors Without Borders are here, that means we are the world, that the United States is a third world country, disaster area, filled with sickness beyond compare. Look up the statistics, okay? Would you rather be born in Chad or the United States? I mean, would you rather be born in South Africa? And the answer is clear. They all try to get in here. Everybody's trying to get in here. Mexico, too. Under 5 mortality rate is like 50 is much worse than the United States. All right. I mean, there's a mortality under 5 mortality rate. There are some people that die under 5 years old. That things happen, but it's not like a true developing third world country. Okay. And I'm sure a part of our part of the thing that boosts I think our under 5 mortality rate is higher than that of Australia. It's because we have so many immigrants coming from developing nations that do bring some challenges with them, to say the least. But this Doctors Without Borders thing, if you fall for this, and the reason I bring this up is because someone I know said, Adam, it's gotten so bad in the United States that Doctors Without Borders are here. I'm like, what fantasy world are you living in? Just because they're here doesn't mean we're some disaster area out of the third world. Look up what a true. I mean, I've given you the statistics right there. It's just like people can, whatever the TV tells them, whatever, and Sanjay Gupta knows he can get away with it. He knows that he can get away with it because it sounds so scary. Doctors Without Borders, Doctor must be horrible. We're the epicenter of all horror in the world in terms of disease because of Trump. This is what they wanted, and by golly, it worked. It worked. If there was not a coronavirus, all right, and there wasn't this nonstop hype around it, he would have won the election easily, obviously. But I mean, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it or anything like that. All right, so let's. The thing I'm making a big deal out of it is just the Doctors Without Borders, straight out fake news. It's straight up fake news. They're helping people on Navajo reservation or whatever, and they're welcome to do that. I'd rather go to Navajo reservation than to go to Chad. Okay, so if the people who think it's a disaster area, go move to Chad, go move to South Africa. Okay, and then come tell me what a disaster area is. And when children are dropping like flies that are under 5 years old from completely preventable childhood illnesses that have been completely prevented in the United States and Canada, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not to mention Brazil had 40,000 homicides last year. Is this not a pandemic? Yeah, I mean, it's a big problem. I don't know all the homicide rates in some of these developing countries. It can be pretty bad. South Africa is pretty bad. Have you seen the movie called Idiocracy? No, I haven't, but I mean, I know what it's about. And it's somewhat predictable that the world would get toward that state one day, unfortunately. But I mean, 20%ers, we don't have to deal with this, okay? We don't have to deal. When we have to deal with it is when someone like that's your associate, brings that up to you. I mean, you're like, how can someone fall for that line? That's Sanjay Gupta nonsense. And and the person who told me this didn't say they heard it from Sanjay Gupta. Probably someone heard it from Sanjay Gupta and just started repeating it. That the person that I know repeated it to me. And then it becomes fact. It becomes this scary fact. Doctors Without Borders are now in the United States. And next thing we have here is Pelosi. So Pelosi wanted to have a big government dinner, a fancy dinner, and it didn't look like it was going to have social distancing to welcome the representatives. I don't even know what it is. House Dem and GOP leaders are holding respective dinners for new members. Pelosi told me it's safe. It's very spaced, she said, and there is enhanced ventilation at the Capitol, and the Capitol physician signed off. So, I mean, it looks like a big fancy ballroom with nice tables. She would have a big party. So she tells everybody to lock down, to not have Thanksgiving meal anymore. And she's having a mega party. And you know what? And she get all these people started ripping on her, okay, because of her hypocrisy. And she couldn't take it. She knew that she was being a hypocrite. But I wish she would have went through with it. I had no problem with them having a fancy party because it would wake everybody up. If that's what they need to not feel obligated to cancel their Thanksgiving. There are people out there that, because Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom, whoever said, the New Yorkers said that to cancel Thanksgiving, they're canceling Thanksgiving. What's CUCK's? It's disgusting. It disgusts me how people are willing to give up their holidays because the government told them, yeah, you can't have a holiday anymore. Can't have a holiday. It's for the good of the nation. I mean, that's fascism. For the good of the nation, do not have Thanksgiving. Hey, but we'll have a big party in the Capitol. Now, she didn't have a big party in the Capitol, but I wish she would have went through with it because it would have woke some more people up. And maybe that's part of the reason she didn't go through with it. I think most of the reason is because she just couldn't take the feedback. She stands for nothing. And she would have had to change her mind, I guess, and say like, well, okay, you can have Thanksgiving now because we're having this big party. All right, so who's the girl in the photo with me? Who's the girl in the photo with me? You could tell that she has big hair, just like me. She had crazy hair like mine. Well, not like spiky like mine, but she had interesting hair also. Now, I bring her up because I had my fun. We were close. Sealed the deal with her. I definitely more. Um, she was a fun person to be around. But had I had red, I didn't have red pill knowledge back then. Okay, at the the site. The mind games that women can play, okay, and I understand more of the relationship the thinking that women bring to relationships. I would have been able to handle that situation a lot differently. Okay, so the photo there is from Club Charles, and it was only a week after meeting this woman. And Club Charles is a bar in Baltimore. I met her at the Auto Bar on a Friday night. I met her there. It was the Friday night before my reunion, my high school reunion of mine. Okay, I went out the night before and got drunk at the club at the Auto Bar, and I remember they mark your hand, to show that you're over 21 or whatever. And anyway, I meet this girl, just like started smiling at me, and I started dancing with her. One thing led to another. You're making out. You're like, let's go back to my house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We went back to my house, and we did not go all the way, because she's like, you're really drunk. I don't want to go all the way with you. And okay, then I wake up the next day, and it's time for my reunion. I'm like, I got a reunion later in the day, so we'll hang out another time. And she said bye-bye, and we exchanged numbers and everything like that. And I went to my high school reunion, I went to a nice high school and everything. And I still had the big mark on my hand, the big stamp on my hand. And so you do the formal reunion at the high school. And then it's time to do the post party with your class. So I'm on my way to the post party. I get a text message. I had a phone at this time. And she's like, hey, yeah, can I come to your reunion post party? I heard, you said you were having I was like, okay, why not? So yeah, it was kind of freaking awesome, dude. I go to my reunion post party. My new friend shows up, who I only met the night before, and this one dude, the dude who comes with like the big fancy car and everything, who wants to show off to everyone. There's always somebody like that at the reunion. He comes up to me. He's like, Adam, your girlfriend is freaking hot. I'm like, yeah, girlfriend. I didn't even get into it, man. But then we had a blast. I mean, and I'm getting drunk at this post party. I mean, we were just having. It was a really good reunion, because I got this hot lady on my hand and stuff, and we were just having a blast there, and getting just destroyed. And to a point where one of my friends, who is now a CEO of a known, his company got bought out by another company. Okay, he's been a CEO of a tech company before. A friend of mine, that I remember that night. He saw me having such a fun time, and that I was gonna, do what later in the night. He grabbed me by my freaking nuts at the reunion. Never forget that. And this guy's a respectable guy now. So he's my friend and everything, but he was pretty freaking drunk too. So yeah, he tries to, prevent me from doing what I need to do later. That didn't stop me. Unfortunately, again, she realized that I was so freaking drunk that we better wait till the. We better hold off. We better make it a better time. But the next day, we wake up. It's Sunday morning. We're hanging out. And it was, it's one of those things where it's very interesting how that happens. So sure enough, the next week she wants to hang out. We go to Club Charles. That picture is taken, and a few hours after that picture was taken, I didn't get too drunk that night. I made sure not to get too drunk that freaking night. Pound that like button. The other thing about her, so. Eventually things that kind of simmered down. It was difficult to deal with her for certain reasons, and there was like a month we didn't even talk or something. But the last part of the story I want to share is that she heard I was having a party. So what I'm trying to say is she liked me partly because of the status, oh, he's went to this nice school, and I can show up and impress his friends and everything, and everyone will think I'm great. All these private school kids will think I'm great, and so I feel special because I get to go to this elite event type of thing. And she obviously found me attractive at first too, but But I didn't have the red pill knowledge back then. That some women, they like you as your handsome man and whatever, but they even like it more when they could be the center of attention, when they could be your piece, and they could brag to their friends that they went to a certain event or something like that, and they could be the guys. So I'm going to have a 4th of July party, and she found out I was going to have a 4th of July party. So she wants to come to my 4th of July party, and she also found out that my ex-girlfriend from a while back, who had a boyfriend, was also going to come to my 4th of July party, okay? And because my ex-girlfriend was there, it gave, and I didn't realize this back then, she really wanted to come to my party because there was, like, her competition was there. She wanted to show that she was better than even though this girl was not my girlfriend. This girl was, we were having a sexual relationship. And she was a nice person. I enjoyed spending time with her and whatnot. And now she's still a real person out there. I know she's divorced and stuff, or separated or something like that. But so let me tell you something, guys. She really wanted to show that she was the best, okay? Because at this party, she wanted to show that she was the host woman and that she was better than the host ex-girlfriend. She looked so hot that night. I will not forget it. She was wearing red, white, and blue. That was the best I ever saw her look. My father was at that party, and he didn't say it he didn't say to me like, Adam, that girl's really hot. But he said something to me. I don't exactly remember what it was. He was impressed. My father was impressed. So yeah. Anyway, after that night, it was after that party was pretty much over, because my behavior that night was somewhat inappropriate. Something I did that night, and when you're drinking, it leads you to all sorts of things. But this was definitely the red pill knowledge girl. Had I known a little bit different, I could have handled things. Had I known, what she was after and what she cared about. And she was a nice person too on one end, but a lot of women want to be the center of attention. They want to defeat the other woman, and they become much more interested in you when there's another woman. Okay, even though that woman, I was done with that other woman alone. That other woman had her boyfriend with her at my party. Okay. So anyway, that's who that girl is in that picture. She was a interesting, fun person to hang out with. Obviously we got along very well at first, because the first 3 days she ends up at my freaking high school reunion party. Okay, that's it. Play that at 2x. So there's my little bit of red pill knowledge for you guys that think women just want you for who you are, but not what you bring to the table. It's a lot what you bring to the table, and especially when they can become the center of attention based on what you bring to the table. So, and I'm not vilifying her, because lots of women are like that. But I do give her credit for looking so hot that night, that July 4th. That is legend. That is pretty legendary in my head. And she did get very angry at me at the end of the night because of the situation that occurred and stuff. It's terrible. All right. Let's move on. Do you know what? With this virus thing, it is really annoying to me. It is and I try not to get frustrated, but when you find out, that a male friend of yours or a male associate of yours is like kind of wimpy and scared and cowardly because of what the media tells them, it's so disappointing. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. And you try to rationalize it like, well, maybe because they believe in the liberals so much, they just have to believe in it. And it's just become a total political thing in their head. But even if that's the reason, that's a pretty bad darn reason. So I don't know if any of you guys have also encountered that. Oh, the other thing I want to go back to with that girl is that she would have beta orbiters around her. She had many beta orbiters, at least 2 I can think of. And I don't want to elaborate exactly on one of them, but yeah, I feel bad for that dude who was a beta orbiter and then became something else. Like when she needed to upgrade him, call him up to the majors, she called him up to the majors. And I mean, I don't know the full situation, but she had beta orbiters. She had beta orbiters around, and I was no beta orbiter. I just met her that night, and I did what I had, and that at least, thank God, I didn't like go begging after her and stuff. Like that night when I did something that was somewhat inappropriate, I was like, oh, you gotta stay the night, blah 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 blah. But like, after it was over between us, which was soon after, I didn't go begging and become a beta orbiter. Like her beta orbiters, they had never, gotten a taste of it or anything like that. That's what they were, and I didn't know what that was back then. I didn't know that term. That knowledge alone would have helped me quite a bit. So I just want to see if there's anything else. Oh, I don't know. She had. What is it? She is, and she would use dudes. She had to move once, and she used somebody who was she made a beta orbiter. She was good like that. I mean, but these are things I did not know what was happening. I just thought, oh, well, that guy's a nice guy to help her out, to help her move and everything. That's very nice. All right, so there you go. That's red pill knowledge, girl. That I didn't have the red pill knowledge of. Yeah, but it worked out really well for me. I mean, I can't complain. I can't complain about the situation. Now, all right. So we'll talk about that next week. And on Saturday's show, I talked about how proud I was of Elon Musk for calling out the testing issues that are out there with the virus. That he took 4 tests. 2 were negative and 2 were positive. So what's that tell you? I mean, these tests are not very accurate. We're living in insanity here. Okay, you can't even test for the disease that hardly kills anybody. But he's a celebrity, okay, and he is not bowing down to the mainstream, okay, that says you got to be scared about this, that you cannot question it, and that you're a W supremacist. I mean, the things that people get called when you question this narrative, it's unbelievable. So pound that like button for Elon Musk. And here's something that goes. This guy Sean Collins says, imagine being called anti-vax for not wanting a rushed vaccine that has bypassed safety standards for a virus with a 99.9% survival rate. Imagine living in a world where people vilify you for having common sense. That's where we are at. Yeah, that is where we are at. By the way, I mentioned this on another show. Joe Manchin, a Democratic senator from West Virginia, one of the 100 senators in the United States Senate, he said that even if the Senate is split 50-50, he will not vote for the radical things that the Democrats propose. Because he's from West Virginia is a very Republican state, but for some reason they keep electing this Democrat, Joe Manchin. They like him. And he knows he will lose. So I just want to say that, we can call the Democrat, everyone can call the Democrats whatever names you want to. There's some that are logical, okay, that don't want to stack the Supreme Court, all right, and pack the Supreme Court, excuse me, and they don't want to add states willy-nilly, do short-term things that are going to have real horrible long-term consequences. Joe Manchin, he said it. I mean, so you got to, I'll believe it. He tweeted it out there too. He was on a news program saying, no, I will not vote for the nonsense that's out there. And there are various Democrats in the House of Representatives also who were speaking up against the AOC side of things. So, all is not lost, people. There are logical people on both sides of the aisle, on left and right. Now, of course, the things that the radical left is proposing is, I mean, you've seen it in the streets and the denial. Last night in Washington, D.C., these Antifa people are violently attacking conservatives, and the media won't cover it. It's just, it's insane. It's come to this. And I mentioned on another show also, Nick Carter is disappointed that it appears that Joe Biden will not be pursuing an antitrust suit against big tech, and I actually like that. I don't like antitrust suits at all. I don't think the government should be defining if you're charging too much or if you're too powerful, if your market share is too much. The government can't decide a darn thing. They're horrible at running everything. Why should they be allowed to decide what the most successful private businesses in the United States of America, how they should run. It makes no sense at all. And I wanted to add that this is no surprise. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. Did the Washington Post help Joe Biden or hurt Joe Biden in this election? Think about it. So Joe Biden doesn't stand for a darn thing, but he does understand who helped him. Okay, so you're not going to all of a sudden antitrust someone who clearly, I mean, that's probably why Jeff Bezos owns the freaking Washington Post, so he can help certain politicians so he can get into a situation where they owe him, where they're not going to hurt his business. I mean, he is that wealthy where he can buy things that are, backdoor political interest and will be backdoor ways of buying politicians. So yeah, it should come as no surprise that Jeff Bezos isn't going to get he's not going to get any. He's not going to have any problems. Amazon should flourish now. Amazon should flourish in the next 4 years because his other he'll straight up remind the dudes. I mean, he's a cutthroat businessman. He'll be like, remember how the Washington Post covered Trump versus how they covered the Democrats. You're going to let me have my drones, and you're going to let me have every regulation clearance I need to do whatever I need to make my business even bigger. And they'll give it. He might not even have to say it. And I want to remind everyone who you're living in an area you're not happy about. You have to use rationality in everything you do in life. But when you're deciding where you should live, that it's really important. It's really an important aspect of your life, where you live, that you use rationality to decide it. That, fitting in with the friends that you grew up with and not abandoning certain traditions and certain people tying you down, certain people guilting you into staying, that is not logic. I mean, there are the taxes in different jurisdictions, they vary a lot. And if you're a working person, or if you're an independent worker and you don't need to physically be in a location anymore, you've got to think logically about this situation now. Okay, we're talking lots of money and lots of freedom you can lose by living in certain jurisdictions, and some are quite dangerous jurisdictions compared to others. Compare Baltimore City to Salt Lake City. There's no comparison. It is quite dangerous in Baltimore City when you compare it to Salt Lake City. And I don't know, the property tax rate in Baltimore City is horrendous. It's over 2%. Okay, in certain jurisdictions, it's quite low or non-existent. And so there are a lot of logical factors you can factor in when deciding where to live, and hardly anyone does it at all. They're like a tree. They're stuck. They want to be with their friends. They want to they want to make life harder on themselves. Okay, and I had to become mature and figure this out for myself too. There was a time I was blindly loyal to Baltimore. There really was. But one thing led to another, and I matured and I used rationality. And for me, rationally now, in terms of having fun and just the quality of life, is going from one place to another. I don't have attack vectors. I'm not getting property taxed. If something goes wrong somewhere, I can just go somewhere else. I love not being tied down. I manage my time very efficiently this way. It's fun, but everybody has to logically decide it on their own. But in terms of where people live, I think that's where people use logic the least sometimes in terms of important decisions one has to make in life. I think logic is when that's where should I live? That they use logic the least there in all the important decisions of life, questions of life. All right. People, in terms of who I should marry, they probably use logic more than where should I live, which is saying a lot, because when people decide who they should marry, they're thinking with their little head down there. Okay, so I think it's worse for some people in determining where they should live. They really get themselves into a jail that way, but you get yourself into a jail in certain marriages also. Now, what is this? Okay, I'm not going to talk about the algorithms. Here's something. Is this a new normal for the foreseeable future, for foreseeable elections? Because of all the media hype about Russia interference in 2016, are all presidential elections are just going to end with people feeling the president is not legit from now on? back in like 2000, even Gore Bush type of thing. You guys remember Bush being president, as late as 2008. People didn't think he was illegitimate. There were a lot of people that were angry at him and stuff still. But this whole Trump thing, the entire time there were people that thought he was a Russian spy. I mean, he was totally illegitimate. So now what are you going to get with Biden? Okay, you're going to get the same thing from the other side. People are going to think this never used to happen anymore. And it really started with this insane Russia interference thing. I mean, it was bound to happen. Something like the media was about to, because they can manipulate anyone. And now they've made politics that much dirtier and that much more paranoid that I really do foresee that every election is going to be questioned from now on. And every leader, there's going to be a lot of people he's not legitimate. He's not my president. He's not this, that, and the other. All right. We do have questions. Would you ever buy a property again? I mean, never say never again was the name of a movie. But I'm not going to say never, but I have no plans. No plans at all. No immediate plans. I really, in the current environment, I don't know how anyone can, when every jurisdiction is losing out on tax revenue. The easiest tax slave to hit up is the property owner. I mean, because they're stuck, they're tied down. So they're the easiest guys to hit with extra taxes. That's just going to get their taxes raised first by the broke local jurisdictions. So, I have no desire right now, and it's so stressed. It can be so stressful, man. The possible lawsuits and everything. People, slipping on ice. I'm seeing if there were any other questions. I see people are chatting here. All right. Yeah, and Invention said a woman attracted to status. Shocking. Well, I got to tell you, Invention, for that younger version of me in that picture, it would be shocking. I was not red pill knowledge. I thought, everyone's innocent. Everybody, there's love and there's physical attraction and people like you because you're nice. You're a nice guy. The nice guys are going to get awesome women if they want. I didn't know about status or anything like that. I mean, in the back of your head, you see some rich old dude with a hot woman, but you really just don't put it into practice in your own life. Okay, you see things on TV. So I was naive then. I was definitely naive then, and it would have been quite a different if I was not naive then. I mean, things would have turned out a little bit differently. I would have acquired more women. I mean, is that a big deal though? Instead of having a certain amount of notches, I would have had more notches. And maybe I would have ended up, who knows where would I like where I ended up. Okay, no freaking regrets, no regrets. Why does Roger Ver have a video of you saying you don't spend your Bitcoin? Yeah. I came across it on his channel and started dying of laughter. What's he trying to prove? Well, he clipped something from my show when he was on my show, and he thought that was a really big deal that people, he didn't understand I was proud of that fact, that I don't spend my Bitcoin. He because here's the bottom line to them. Roger Ver only considers you to be a Bitcoin user if you spend your Bitcoin. He doesn't consider you legitimate if you hold Bitcoin. He doesn't consider Bitcoin holding to be really like a legitimate thing at all. You're not. So during the whole scaling debate, when he would debate people like Tone and I, or be interviewed by people like me and debate Tone, he would always bring up that line. He's like, well, if you're so against expanding the block size, tell me when was the last time you used Bitcoin? And I'd say, well, I store it. It's my where. He's like, so you've never spent Bitcoin before? I was like, no, I don't spend it. I haven't. No. And he's like, well, you don't use Bitcoin. So how can you tell us the block? How can you be a legitimate commentator on the block size debate? So he would just use it as a way to deal legit. But I think he does believe that he's really into spending. I mean, whatever. He lost. Okay, he's got his own problem with his own coin right now. It's splitting off. Bitcoin store value saving is really important, dude. Saving is really important. You're doing something with your Bitcoin when you're saving. You really are. But he didn't recognize that. But he did feel the need to make a video out of that, which was interesting. But I have no problem with him making a video out of that at all. None at all. Even though it was a clip from my show and then he put it on his channel. None at all. I have none at all. Compete to the complaint. That's the way he competes. That's fine. It's totally fine. I think it was 100% all. But there's some dudes that'll like do a copyright violation on your butt if you use a clip of them. I have no problem with anyone using any clip from any of my shows I've ever done. Everything I put out there, I don't try to hide. I don't erase my shows, so everyone is free to use clips of it. And Roger did that. So, but yeah, it's interesting. to each his own. Okay, let me close that. I can't believe that was open still. Wow. I'm going to have to mash these shows together. Unbelievable. I can't wait to get back to the regular channel tomorrow. And most of you watching this are watching this on the regular channel, so ignore all that. Utah mask mandate. So here in red state Utah, Republican Utah, the election is over. He starts to feel pressure from the numbers rising. He doesn't understand science. He doesn't want to be blamed for everything. So the Republican governor, right after the elections, can't lose my job anymore. So I'm going to do a mask mandate. What a CUCK. So pathetic. By the way, I think part of what Trump is doing out there with all these lawsuits at this point, he is a marketing guy. I think he is a little angry about the situation. But I think one thing that he's betting on now is that he's using this as a passable foundation, well, for a TV network, I think, but to run in 2024, to be Grover Cleveland Part 2, or to have his son run, okay? Just keeping him, leaving things unresolved, like he's marketing himself for 2024. He's trying to put himself into 2020. And before this election, if you had asked me, well, if Trump loses, do you think he'll run again in 2024? I would have said no. But now I see that the way he's setting things up. And I would have said, well, maybe his son will run on his name. And I still think that's more likely. But now I think Trump might try to run in 2024. It's a free country. He can do that. It will hurt the Republican Party. It could split the Republican Party. But at the same time, and I mentioned this on another show, the Democrats could have a leftist challenger from the left side that leaves the Democratic Party. So we could have 4 parties next time. I have no problem with that. It doesn't bother me that much. But he does have stuff. Grover Cleveland, if you've never heard of him before, he was the 22nd and the 24th president of the United States of America. He won, obviously, then he lost, and then he won. And he also was an overweight man from New York, just like Donald Trump is. And he also had an illegitimate child, like Donald Trump sort of. Donald Trump's child with Marla Maples, well, he cheated on his wife with Marla Maples. I do not know if he conceived a daughter while he was not married to Marla Maples or not. But Grover Cleveland did have an illegitimate child. So, he had mistresses, or he was a man who does what Trump does. Okay, he was very Trumpian in his ways back in the late 1880s. So it's funny they have those things in common. And I highly doubt Trump could win the presidency in 2024. By the way, is he going to be 76 then? But I do think it is more likely than before that he'll try to run. Don't worry about it too much. Let's worry about the Bitcoin 2024 halving. As I say every 4 years, worry about the Bitcoin halving over politics. Value your time in halvings, not in elections. Those of us who have done that have ended up quite well, and we really don't care who the president is. We just know that 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. And at the second, it's worth $16,000, and at the last election, it was worth $700. So use your logic and reason on that one, people. Or you could just be an emotional roller coaster and just live vicariously through politics, which really leads to a lot of nonsense. Oh, and speaking about political nonsense and Utah, I'm sure some of you have seen this sign before. And what's the sign say? Make America kind again. Have these people totally fallen for it or what? Just because he was president, America wasn't kind anymore? Politics is not about being kind. Business is not about being kind. You can have your family. Are you kind to your family and friends still? It doesn't matter who the president is. It's not making people less kind, more kind. What's this kind? What's this emotion stuff? Now, of course, Saval Docrace is right saying, Adam, come on, how about the kind bud? Pound that like button for something that Adam doesn't do. But no, I think it's a ridiculous sign. Emotional people. Being kind, okay? You're running a nation, all right? You're doing what's best for the freaking nation. You throw kind and emotion out the freaking window. But there are plenty of people here in Salt Lake City. They've got these Make America Kind Again signs. Ugh, C-U-C-K stuff. C-U-C-K stuff. Okay, we'll talk about that another time. The governor of Mississippi said no lockdown, no national lockdown. If Joe Biden, he's speaking up. Great credit to the governor of Mississippi. Of course, in the thread that he announced it in, everybody was saying that he was killing many people. You know it. But governor of Mississippi isn't like the freaking governor of Utah, who all of a sudden the election's over. Oh, I'm going to do a mask mandate now. Okay, so he's saying, I've heard rumors about a national lockdown. I'm not doing a national lockdown. I'm not being part of any sort of national lockdown. So good for the governor of Mississippi. And here is, I talked about, we have all these people claiming to be sick with the virus and to be super sick with the virus that just go on social media to climb the victim totem pole, okay? Glorifying, I made a tweet about this, and it'll be linked to below eventually. They glorifying and exaggerating victimhood in order to gain currency and clout in the pathetic victim economy that exists in the social media realm. Victim totem pole climbers should be called out, and their stories should be debunked and questioned. Exit the panic prison. So what? And I retweeted a tweet under that of this woman from Ohio. She's a representative in the state house in Ohio, who was saying it was like her second time getting the virus, and she was clearly wanting sympathy. And so, we have the media trying to debunk every single political story out there that deals with Trump, anything positive to deal with Trump, they're debunking. They never question anyone who says they were sick, okay? Or anyone who says they were sick twice with it or something. This is a woman, is the prime example of what I was saying last week. This type of woman should be deep. This is a story the media should question. Like, well, this doesn't sound normal, but it is normal. Everybody out there, because it's never questioned, you have all these liars going out there bragging about how sick they were, or how they had it twice, or things that just seem so unrealistic about it. And then they're like, wear a mask, save my life. So there's nothing wrong with questioning stories that seem like quite insane and quite like impossible. Okay. Not just because she's a representative doesn't mean that is why she should be questioned. She's a public figure already. She's making herself more public. Then let's publicly call her out. And it is funny that Kamala Harris is going to be the vice president. All the women. The best person should get the job for any job. But so women, for a while, they've been saying that a woman should be president just because she's a woman, and that the people are sexist because they won't elect a woman. It would kind of be anticlimactic if the first woman president was not elected president, because if she becomes president, she wasn't elected president; she was elected vice president. So they finally got there, and they just got it because the guy resigned or got sick. Kind of interesting. Well, most likely, maybe some people will twist it like, well, no, then we still have to elect a woman. We still have to elect a woman. This doesn't count. So it goes both ways. But it's kind of funny that if it's all those years of dreaming for a woman president, yep, you got one. She didn't even get elected president. And speaking about vice presidents and stuff, back a year ago, everybody was talking about the impeachment trial, and all the Democrats wanted to get rid of Trump. Imagine if, for some weird reason, and this was not going to happen, but if he would have been convicted by the Senate and Pence would have become president, I'm going to tell you something, dude. Pence would have beaten Biden. Now, the thing is, Pence would have become president back in, February? So they probably would not have nominated Biden in that case. They would have nominated someone that was more... the reason Biden was acceptable is because he was so boring, and they just they could hide this guy in the basement, and Trump could just talk his butt off, and he'll just keep on making people angry at him. So they would have had to take a different approach with Pence. But had they put Biden against Pence, Pence would have beat him. Pence would have beat him, definitely. Because, I mean, if you Pence in the debate just sticks with the boring talking points, he doesn't get people angry at him. No one would have hated Pence. And there still would have been all these, the whole mail-in ballot thing did, change the balance of power a bit. So many people who got mail-in ballots, they would have never voted otherwise. They're lazy bums. So who do you think the lazy bum vote's going to go to more? So the Republican or the Democrat? So it still would have been hard. It still would have been hard. So you got to hand it to the Democrats. They scared everybody so much about this virus that they increased the number of mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, whatever you want to call it, to an unforeseen, unprecedented level, and it helped them. That's how they won. So it's based on hate of Trump, based on coronavirus, and which is all intertwined with the increasing the ballots, increasing the access and knowledge of mail-in ballots. So I mean, they did what they did. They did what they did. That's what politics is. It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. So that's and I do think Trump's team could have combated. They should have stood for something more so. They should have been anti-virus. They shouldn't have been scared of the virus. And they were wishy-washy about the virus. And the rest is history. And he didn't have to tweet as much. He didn't have to say some of the silly things he said. But this is, who cares? No, you definitely shouldn't be regretting it. I'm not regretting it. And we'll be fine. The world is not ending. The Senate will remain Republican. And now, if you are a person who does contribute to political campaigns, and you shouldn't be, you're wasting your money. But if you are one of those people, and there was only one campaign to contribute to, it would be to one of the Georgia Senate races that's going on, just to make sure they win. But you should be looking out for yourself, dude. You should be buying Bitcoin instead of but I'm just saying, if. Okay, I'm going to talk about this next time, the unity stuff, because this has gone on way too long. The long haulers wanting their attention. Okay, that's going to be I'm going to answer your questions real quick, and then we're going to end the show. Did you see Van Jones crying? Oh my God, when Biden was announced as president. Hate how they make black people look like victims 24/7. Was it Van Jones or was it the what's his face? I didn't see Van Jones crying. I saw Don Lemon crying because I don't have cable. I just see when like Ben Shapiro tweets out pathetic tweets of these losers who start crying because of politics. I did not see Van Jones cry, and that's really disappointing because Van Jones is a pretty manly dude. And it's really disappointing if he cried over politics because he really has a victim mentality if he thinks Trump was that dangerous. And I never thought that Van Jones had a victim mentality. I just thought he's a communist, and I thought he was a proud man, proud of his who he is. And Don Lemon is not a proud person at all. He's a woman. Well, not that women aren't proud people, but Don Lemon is. It's a disgrace. It doesn't shock me that Don Lemon cries like a little girl and is a wimp and is scared and tries to scare everyone. Don Lemon was saying he hates Trump, so he's just going to be an objective journalist. And Ben Shapiro pointed this out. Don Lemon uses his platform to rub it in Trump's face. I'm like, dude, are you that much of a loser? Like, it makes you more of a man to say, hey, he was saying President Trump, Joe Biden got more votes than any candidate in the history of the United States. And that's true, larger than it ever has been because of the mail-in votes. But the funny thing is, then who got the second most votes in the history of all elections? Donald Trump did. Because the loser of this, there were so many more people that voted, and our population is so much larger than it has been in the past, that it's just nonsense. It's not understanding numbers, which is he represents all that is wrong with the United States, mainstream media, and the 80%ers that follow it. No concept of numbers, scapegoating, fear, emotion, vengeance. Don Lemon, victimhood. He embodies all of it. And I guess that's why he's so popular. I mean, there's people that like that kind of stuff. They are pathetic people. They are not producers. So there we go. Productivity over there. Productivity over that kind of nonsense. And Taval says it was Van Jones did cry crocodile tears. Yeah, and Don Lemon is crocodile tears most of the time also, but he's a disgrace. Don Lemon's a bigger disgrace than the communist Van Jones, because I think Van Jones is intelligent. I don't think Don Lemon is not. Don Lemon isn't stupid, but he's hateful and vengeful and just scapegoating. And not that since Van Jones is a communist, I mean, he blames he's scapegoating the aristocracy, the rich people and stuff, but it's a different type of thing. I think you guys get it. All right, pound that like button. I'm BitcoinMeister, BitcoinMeister. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video, check out the links below. Hopefully we'll be back on the new channels, the old channel soon. Bye-bye. And subscribe to this backup channel just in case we get into these horrible situations. All right, I will see you. Bye-bye. Thanks.